tennis players have been doing sketchy things. Betting scandals, match fixing, and drug abuses that ruin players' careers.
I resented my life, didn't know who I was.
These are some of the most famous cheating moments in tennis history. And let's start with Andre Agassi, because 2 years after becoming world number 1 in 1997, his career took a blow. Injury limited his playing time, and a failed drug test made it a difficult year for Agassi. The 8-time Grand Slam champion wrote to the ATP asserting that a friend had spiked his drink and ultimately received only a warning. However, years after retiring, he confessed in his autobiography to using crystal meth and faking the letter, which disgraced his reputation but allowed him to escape consequences when it mattered.
It's a terrible drug, it's crystal meth.
Yeah.
And that stuff kills you from the inside. And you know, I did that for close to a good year of my life.
But if we look a decade ahead to 2007, we find Davidenko's controversial loss to Martin Vassallo. Davidenko was one of the world's top players throughout the 2000s, winning numerous titles and consistently remaining in the top 10. In August 2007, a controversy erupted when over $1.5 million was bet on Davidenko losing his match against Martin Vassallo in Sopot, Poland. Although Davidenko won the first set 6-2, he ultimately retired in the third set due to an injury. The large bet was reported, and the ATP started a year-long investigation. In the end, the Russian was cleared of the accusations. Therefore, Davidenko was never the same player after this incident, and it's a pity we never got to see his full potential. But cheating incidents don't just involve male players. In 2007, a female tennis star was involved in a drug scandal. See, Martina Hingis was at the top of his game, 209 weeks at number 1, and already 5 Grand Slams. But in November 2007, the tennis world was notified that Hingis had failed a drug test at Wimbledon. She tested positive for a metabolite of cocaine, but she maintained her innocence, claiming she had ingested it unintentionally. However, the ITF rejected her appeal and imposed a 2-year suspension on Hingis, shortly before she retired from the sport for the second time. In 2010, she decided to return to the double circuit, where she found considerable success. But in 2017, she finally hung up the racket for good. Unlike this next player I'm about to share, who is probably one of the least well-known names on the list, yet found guilty of one of the biggest scandals. This is Daniel Koellerer. In 2009, he achieved a career ranking of 55, but things were about to get serious for him, as he would commit several violations, causing the Tennis Integrity Agency to start investigating him. It was discovered he had been involved in match fixing on 3 occasions between October 2009 and July 2010.
One offer in Moscow, one offer in Chennai, and one in Paris.
This is why 1 year later, Koellerer became the first individual to be given a lifetime ban and a $100,000 fine for his conduct. But he is not the only one to go to the deep end, because Sharapova was also banned for her actions. It all began in 2016 when it was discovered that she had been taking a drug that became prohibited in January of that year, known as meldonium. The 5-time Grand Slam winner had been taking this banned substance, which increased her stamina and endurance for over 10 years.
I know that with this, I face consequences, and I don't want to end my career this way.
Therefore, she was given a 2-year ban from tennis, which was then reduced to 15 months after the court determined there was no intention to violate the new regulations. It's bad enough to fail a drug test, but wait until you hear about the following player's case. It all started back in 2018 with this man, Grigor Sargsyan, being the thinking head. Also known as the Maestro, he made millions building the biggest match-fixing empire in the world with 180 players. The case involved at least 375 matches, where 7 Belgian players were approached to lose a match and deliver a predetermined outcome for a fee, which was usually between $2,000 and $3,000 per match. This is why most players were given lengthy bans and fines of up to $50,000, while Sargsyan received a 5-year custodial sentence. But after all these cheating scandals, the next player risked his tennis reputation in order to avoid losing a set. This is French player Hugo Gaston, and back during the 2023 French Open, he competed in his home slam with the goal of winning his first Grand Slam title, a run that was cut by Alex Molcan in the opening round. So with no other way of making headlines, he had to proceed with this crazy decision against Koellerer at the 2023 Madrid Open. Dude, I can't judge his creativity of throwing a second ball onto the court, as it was believed to be an attempt to secure a let and restart the point. However, as crazy as it seems, he ended up receiving a $155K fine, which was later reduced to $77.5K. While Gaston's action attracted attention, it can't be compared with the controversy that surrounded Jannik Sinner. 2024 Cincinnati Masters 1000, Jannik Sinner is playing the final against American Francis. After intense play, Sinner ends up winning the match. But shortly after he has been proclaimed as Cincinnati's champion, alarms go off. It is discovered that he tested twice positive for the steroid clostebol, a synthetic derivative of testosterone with legitimate medical uses. So Sinner's team claimed he was being treated by a massage therapist who used clostebol for a personal skin condition. This in turn transferred dermally to the athlete during treatment and popped the positive test.
In my mind, I know that I haven't done anything wrong. I had to play already months with this in my head.
But the story doesn't end there. It takes an unexpected twist. The court determined there was no intent to cheat and therefore he would not face suspension. However, they decided to remove his 400 points from the Indian Wells semifinal as well as the according price, 300,000 euros. Somehow, he managed to escape punishment, for which was criticized by players like Kyrgios. However, the player was free to play at the US Open in the hunt for the final Grand Slam of the season. But believe it or not, we've seen crazier stuff happen in tennis. From an iguana entering court to a serve getting stuck on clay. They got some ridiculous stuff going on over there. Look, if you want to hear more, you need to click on this video right here. These are the 20 most ridiculous moments in tennis history. And this video is over, so what are you doing? Click it.